Welcome to the Sisters of the Shire podcast. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Abby. It's a beautiful day. Is it beautiful up there?
It's so beautiful today. I had to
I'm
reformat my house. I have all the fans out and I have to get back on the schedule of the window opening and shutting. And poor Lizzie, I had her window open, and apparently this year is just the worst for allergies because she has been coughing, but it sounds like a dog barking at night. It sounds like that croup cough, So okay, reformat. You put this fan in this room and that thing in that room, and let's start some allergy meds. And yeah, it's been a whole thing.
I feel ya. We're not strangers to the pollen over here.
Yeah.
Is your house one of those fun Pacific Northwest houses that doesn't have any central AC or central heating?
No, it does not. And what's funny is I feel like the guy could have done it. It wasn't built that long ago. Come on, man.
I don't understand. So many houses in the Pacific Northwest don't have any AC running through their house. My dad's house up in Washington was built in the later 2000s, a pretty new house. No air conditioning. There's no air conditioning in their house. And it's
because it
a
rains
big,
every day in
expensive
Washington.
house.
Haven't you heard? In Washington, it rains every day. That's what the world thinks of us, is that it rains every single day.
Yes.
Isn't that right? Oh, Seattle, it must rain all the time. Doesn't that make you so sad? Blah, blah, blah.
I do have to say, because they say the same for Oregon too. But we were driving home from Utah to Oregon. I'm not even exaggerating. We were driving, the weather was dry, it was perfectly fine. And the literal border to go into Oregon was a wall of rain.
Welcome home!
Yeah. It's like we're crossing the border. Oh gosh! Windshield wipers, hurry!
But you know what? We don't mind the rain. And you know what? Just for all of you non-Pacific Northwesterners, we know who doesn't live here because you guys carry umbrellas. We are hood people. We put the hood up. We dress in layers.
We smell like a wet dog for the rest of the day. It's fine.
Yes, it's fine. We're all used to it. We know you outsiders for your umbrellas, and you're like, oh my gosh, it's raining. But you know what? It is beautiful. It is green. It makes our summers not hell.
Terrible. We get amazing produce like berries and all the fruit trees out up in the Pacific Northwest are amazing because of all that rain.
All that rain. Rain is a good thing.
But speaking of the rain, I gotta say it's beautiful sunshine out today.
Beautiful.
We do enjoy our sunshine when we get it.
Yeah, we know how to enjoy it too. Yeah, we're not sick of it. We enjoy it.
I was gonna tell you, I want your opinion on this kind of situation.
Okay.
So it's the school book fair in my children's school right now. And if you guys don't know what that is, it's when
the best.
It's pretty fun. A company comes in who's kind of like a publisher, I want to say, or a company that owns the publishing rights for a lot of different books.
Scholastic is the usual one.
Of them, yeah, Scholastic. 99% of it is children's books because it's for grade schools and middle schools and stuff like that. So my children have their book fair this week. And I've been a terrible mom because I've accidentally left my purse at home every time I've gone to pick them up because I walk to pick them up and and they're like, let's go to the book fair. I'm like, dang it. I don't have my purse. So
well, they take IOUs.
I gotta remind myself. I know. Anyway, so they have amazing books for kids. Luna's getting this really cute. It's kind of like the style of Diary of a Wimpy Kid, where it looks like it's handwritten, like a diary.
Yeah.
But then there's some pictures, kind of like a graphic novel, but it's not all a graphic novel. Anyway, and it's called Avengers Assembly, and it's about the teenagers of the Avengers, like Spider-Man.
Oh, that's cool.
Miles Morales, Ms. Marvel, and squirrel girl and whatever, and they like go to school together, and it's like their adventures of going to school together. It's really cute.
We
Other
raised our nerd
graphic
girls
novel.
right.
All she wanted was Spider-Man books the whole time, which I'm like, yes, I will give you all the Peter Spiderman comics. Anyway, and then Fox wanted like a graphic novel, and then they have the like revamp of like the Babysitters Club that's like a graphic novel that's really cute. And then they have like Easy Reader, like How to Catch a Unicorn and like stuff like that.
Yeah.
They have some fantasy, like sci-fi fantasy for like the 5th grade, kind of like the older
Yeah.
crowd. They have got some like older books, but they don't have any like high fantasy anything at the book fair. And I was like,
Hmm.
I want to see swords and dragons and
Hmm.
wizards and stuff like that. I think it would be really cool if they not revamped, but like kind of introduced The Hobbit into book fairs, or
Yeah.
if Brandon Sanderson had,
Oh, yeah.
something at a book fair. But I was like, man, there's no high fantasy fun stuff at book fairs. There's like Minecraft books and
Right.
Star Wars books, which I'm like, I love the Star Wars books. Those are fun.
Yeah,
But
they've been
like,
getting really good. Yeah.
or Ripley's Believe It or Not. I'm
The
guessing it has
the
to do with like the company that supports it. Like there isn't like a lot of high fantasy things that are through Scholastic, but that's a big genre that they can be hitting.
It's a big genre, but okay, I had this very firm memory in my brain. And believe it or not, the nerddom started young in this girl. And I remember being in like third or fourth grade, going to the library. Me and the librarian were besties, okay? Of course, because that's how you are when you're a nerd. And she recommended this book to me, and it's like a whole series, and none of my other friends were reading it. And I, of course, just plowed through it. Come to find out, the second book of it was actually a Disney movie. Didn't realize it at the time. There's like 7 of these books, and it would be, yeah,
The
considered
Princess
high
Diaries.
fantasy. No. The
Those are
second of
books
this
I found.
book is The Black Cauldron.
Oh,
Yeah, it's like a whole series
there's
of books that's high fantasy that this lovely librarian, I wish I could remember her name, recommended to me. I loved it at the time, but yeah, no one knows.
I know. It's such a bummer.
It's a bit dark though. Like if you think about it, like why was I reading like The Black Cauldron shouldn't have been a Disney movie. I'm sorry. I That's an unpopular opinion. But I mean, it's so dark. So to recommend
Yes.
this series to like a third grader is a bit dark. So I can see why it's not very popular.
Your librarian
Why
was a witch.
actually maybe. I mean, but yeah, I think that that's mainly why because we're trying to promote the
This is
sunshine and the rainbows and dragons are friendly and
Yeah.
fantasy.
I mean, those books are all great. Nothing against those books.
Oh, no,
But
no, no.
this is our friendly,
Come on, creators of the world. There's a gap. Let's
yeah.
fill the gap.
But also to the parents out there, don't be afraid to show your kids some really cool high fantasy books. Make sure that they're mature
Appropriate.
to their age level,
Yeah.
basically, like rating and parental guidance wise. But come on.
Narnia,
Like,
but that's still a bit hard.
oh,
Yeah.
Narnia is great. That one is a bit hard. I read them all
Yeah.
to the kids like 2 years ago, but come on.
Come on.
Parents, don't be afraid of introducing your children to high fantasy.
I mean, I read The Black
They
Cauldron when
will
I was
become
like in
addicted.
4th grade and I turned out fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with me and my dark soul.
Nope,
Nope.
nothing wrong. You're a beautiful, beautiful, dark hearted person. Okay, speaking
Well,
of high fantasy, bring us back.
bring it back. Okay, so how much do you remember of last week?
The huge bombshell you dropped on me that King Thingol died because he was a selfish person
Uh-huh.
and he got moited by
We
some
got
dwarves.
moited by some dwarves. Do the whole recap
In my
like that, I dare
brain,
you.
in my brain, if I watch it as a movie in my brain, they were like meeting in this darker room, like where the dwarves were dwelling. It's that kind of cinematography trick where like they get angry, but then the like camera doesn't focus on them. It's just like shadows on a stone wall and you see them
Oh,
like
yeah.
attack him,
Uh-huh.
but you don't see it happen. That's how I saw it in
Mhm.
my brain.
Oh, I like it. I like it. Yeah, I like that. So, kind of back up there though. I'll give you the starting point. Hurin had just buried his wife next to their children and decided to go to Nargothrond. And there we
And
got to
then
meet our old friend,
the eagle.
Meme, the petty dwarf, who,
Okay.
since
Oh yeah,
Glaurung
no.
had died, he was Scrooge McDucking it amongst the treasure in Nargothrond.
And he was like, "This is mine now." And then it was a bad day to cross Hurin, who
Yeah.
was feeling a little emotional,
Yeah.
and
Mhm.
boarded that dwarf because he was just mad. Like he was like,
Well, and he knew that Meme had betrayed Turin's location on the hill of Amunrud to the orcs.
that started this whole business in the first place.
Uh-huh.
And then he ran to
Oh, no, he goes into Nargothrond and gets just one thing.
that shiny necklace.
The shiny necklace. The
Um,
Naglomir.
yes, the floaty necklace, the anti-gravity
Yes.
necklace.
Yes. And
Um,
then he heads over to see King Thingol and Doriath.
yes, and he's like, "Hey, I heard you're a jerk." He's like, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" Like, you just came in here throwing all of these
I don't
accusations
know
out. They
you.
may be true. They may be true, but you can't just come in here spewing all this stuff at me, no matter how true it is.
Because yeah, he
And
he
he got
basically
really mad
threw
at
the
him.
Naglomir at Thingol's feet and's like, "Here's your payment for taking such good care of my family. Oh, and by the way, very roundabout way, I'm saying that you're a bad person for making your son-in-law get this stupid Silmaril that killed Finrod and Baron, and you're dumb, sir."
Yeah. Yeah. And then he jumps off a cliff. No.
Uh, well, back up. So Thingol is like, okay, I'll take it. You're sad. I can't just defend myself to you because you're so pitiful. But Melian's like, hold on. I think Morgoth might have skewed the story to you because we did all we could to protect Hurin's family. And Hurin realizes he's like, oh yeah, I guess now that I think about it, you guys did try your best. So here's the Noglamir nicely this time and gives it to Dingle, and then he leaves.
Let's try it again.
Let's
Pick
try
it
it again.
up. Hand it over nicely this time, please.
Yes. And then he throws himself into the ocean, killing himself.
He's like, fine, here. This place is a
So
tomb. Anybody
that
get
is
that
when
reference? Anyone?
uh
No?
I can't think past. It's not a something, it's a tomb
Oh
from
yeah.
Boromir, but
No, it's from You've Got Mail, where they're in their like little bookshop and he's like, this place is a tomb. I'm going to the nut store where it's fun.
that character in that movie is the best. That actor in entirety is best.
I
In
know.
his
I
entirety
know.
is the best. So Thingol, now having the Naglomir, is very happy because he's like, I have the perfect thing to put on this new necklace. And it's the Silmaril that he has been keeping as his pet Silmaril and stroking it and, telling it stories and stuff.
He put
And
googly eyes on it like a pet
of course
rock.
he did. Yes, he did. And he nicely asks some dwarves who are staying with him to put the Silmaril on the Noglomir because it's dwarven made and it's magical and he can't just like place it in. But the dwarves are
Okay,
like,
I wish that
ooh,
they would be
shiny.
more
Oh,
I wish they'd be more specific about how big a Silmaril was.
I
Because like
know.
what if it's just like huge, and he's trying to put it on on the necklace.
Well, and of course, the only
Or
reference that I can think of is the Arkenstone, which is pretty big.
yeah, or maybe it has that cool magic like the One Ring does where it gets bigger
Ooh,
and
yes.
smaller. And so like when Morgoth had it in his crown, it was bigger and then like when
It took
like
out and was in his hand. Yeah, I like that
Fëanor had
idea.
it in his crown, it was smaller, but
Mm-hmm.
it could like change size.
So the dwarves are like, ooh, shiny necklace, ooh, shiny gem. We want it, but I guess we'll make it together and then we'll figure it out afterwards. So they start putting
Oh.
the Silmaril in the Noglumir, and Thingol is just like in the background, like, how's it going? Okay, are you guys done yet? I really wish my pet Silmaril could be back in my arms because I miss it.
Yeah.
And when the necklace is finally finished, Thingol reaches out to put it on, and the dwarves are like, whoa, 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 wait a second. I think this belongs to us because it was our people who made it for Finrod. And Thingol's like, well, I'm older than you and I'm prettier, so it belongs to me. And you guys are ugly and gross. And the dwarves are like,
Yeah,
sir. He got a
he
bit
got some
racist
pretty
there.
a bit racist in this scene, which we
Yes.
apologize. We do not associate ourselves with racist
No.
elves.
No. So the dwarves, rightly pissed off, kill Thingol and take the Not for themselves. So, in that
But they're
episode of
are they living in his like kingdom? Like,
so it's considered like a trade stop. So it's just like a
okay.
hotel of sorts. So they kind of just like stay there for a little bit and then continue onwards. Like it's just a place along the path, along the road.
So are they gonna run away?
Yes. So we're gonna find out about that today. But first, R.I.P. Horin, greatest warrior among men. Way to stick it to Morgoth and get put on a timeout chair for years. And R.I.P. Thingol, the only elf to marry one of the Maiar. You did it, buddy. And the only elf who stayed behind in Beleriand who was able to see the two trees of Valinor. So he's pretty famous for those things.
Yeah.
Okay,
Amazing way to
so
die because
amazing way to
he's
die.
such a big guy, like epically.
Mm-hmm.
And what a way to go, man. What a way to go.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, so the dwarves have just killed King Thingol. They grab the Noglumir and they run for it. But as word gets out from Menegroth about what happened, of course, the elves are much faster runners, and they quickly overtake them, kill them, and take the Noglumir back to Melian.
Hey.
However,
Guys, there's
they're
the real bad guys out there. Why are you killing each other?
oh, I'm sure Morgoth is sitting back. He's like, all right, I'm cool with it. Keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, that guy said you smell funny. He
Yeah.
what?
The guy was saying something about your mom. What? No.
However, there were two dwarves that managed to escape. So they killed everyone but these two dwarves. And they managed to escape back east into the mountains. And when they get back to their dwarf city of Nogrod, they tell everyone what happened. But
Oh, but it's
they
probably like they jumped us, like they like attacked us from the
uh-huh.
shadows.
Uh-huh. And so in their version, this is what they tell the other dwarfs of Nogrod. Quote, the dwarves were slain in Doriath by command of the Elven King, who thus would cheat them of their reward.
But
So,
they forgot the big part of we killed that guy already.
yeah. But at this news, of course, like they just killed us out of nowhere. Oh man, that's so awful. And they just are heartbroken. They cry, they wail, they tore their beards. Why is this a thing with dwarves that they tear their beards? When I cry, I don't rip my hair out. Like, sorry, they
um
just keep saying
did you ever
tearing at the
watch
beards.
Bedazzled, the Brendan Fraser movie?
Did I ever watch Bedazzled? Are you serious right now? How many
I was
summers did
talking
we
to
watch
someone else who's
that
never
weeks
seen
on
it.
end?
When he rips half his mustache off when he's like
Yeah, that's true.
really mad.
Yeah.
And then he
He
has a
was a
band-aid over half of his mustache.
Diablos number one. So, anyways,
Okay, so they're ripping their beards out because
yes,
they feel
they're
like
so
they're
sad.
betrayed.
Yes. So, of course, after they're all cried out and their beards are all ripped out, they start thinking about vengeance because why not? So the dwarves of
Okay.
Nogrod go to the only other city of dwarves called Belagost. So at this time, there's only two settlements of dwarves in the mountains, Belagost and Nogrod. So the dwarves of Belagost want nothing to do with this fight. In fact, they even try talking the dwarves of Nogrod out of it. Somehow
Yeah.
they are the point of reason. But just a side fact, I was trying to remember who's a Nogrod dwarf and who's a Belagost dwarf. So, just as a context, Azagal, who was the lord of Belagost, was actually the one who wore the helm of Dorloman originally, who it
Okay.
was made for. And he was the one that fought alongside Maedros in the Battle of Unnumbered Tears. And it was to him that he gave the dragon helm of Dorloman. So maybe the dwarves of Belagos had a better relationship with the elves.
Okay.
The only other Nogrod dwarf that we kind of know about is Telkar, and he was the one who made the dragon helm and made a bunch of other cool stuff. But so that's kind of all we know, but that's kind of what I'm assuming is that the dwarves of Belagost had a better relationship with the elves. So
Okay.
they don't want to mess with their ally. So, without the dwarf army of Belagos, the dwarf army of Nogrod decided to march to Doriath on their own. Like, we're doing this thing. Meanwhile, in Doriath, with the death of her husband, Melian is now the sole ruler of Doriath, and she's not doing so well. After Thingol's death, she would just sit by him in silence, just thinking about how they first met and had their zing moment in the woods all those years ago. Quote, but now Thingol lay dead, and his spirit had passed to the halls of Mandos. And with his death, a change came also upon Melian. Thus, it came to pass that her power was withdrawn in that time from the forests. And as Galduin, the enchanted river, the river that runs through the middle of Doriath, spoke with a different voice, and Doriath lay open to its enemies.
It lost its magic barrier?
So, with Thingol's death,
Oh,
Melian's power started to withdraw from the land. Her magic girdle was disappearing. Her protection is no longer around the land of Doriath.
oh no. So
Lost and
many people were
withdrawn.
relying on that.
Yeah, kind of an important thing, but Melian, you're being a bit selfish in your grief, okay? Because she just stays in her room and she only talks to one person, her old trusted friend, Moblung.
I was just gonna say, my blind.
And it was to
My
him who
blind.
she gave an important task.
He's
Melian,
like, please don't let me babysit anybody anymore. I didn't do a good job last time.
please don't give me any headstrong teenagers or crazy women in grief.
Please.
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 So maybe Moblung was just really good with the ladies, like not in a gross way, but in he is now dealing with Melian in her grief. He was dealing with Morwyn, and he's just really good with the ladies. I don't know.
Yes.
He's a good listener.
He's the
So,
Higgins. He's the Higgins from Ted Lasso.
yes. So Melian entrusts Moblung with the Noglamir. A pretty big deal. And she
Uh-huh.
also has him send an urgent message to Osirian.
Okay.
Why Osirian? Do you even remember where Osirian is? Who is in Osirian? What is Osirian? What is Osirian? I can't talk. So, and yeah, because there's so many things to remember in the Silmarillion, I'm going to help you out here. Osirian is the land in the southeast of Beleriand, and it's where the green elves live. Remember, they're the kind of hippie elves, and it's where the first group of men crossed over. But more importantly, it's where some characters that we haven't talked about in a while live.
Okay. The
Baron and
men.
Luthien.
Oh, they're still alive right now?
They're still alive. They've just been living
Because they
in
came
this
back?
area. Yeah, they came back and this is where they live. They just kind of were keeping separate from everyone. I don't know why.
They've had a
We're
rough
tired of that
go. They want
drama.
some
Yeah.
peace and quiet.
Yeah. So, leaving Moblung in charge of her final task, quote, Melian vanished out of Middle Earth and passed to the land of the Valar beyond the Western Sea, to muse upon her sorrows in the gardens of Lorien, whence she came, and this tale speaks of her no more.
Wow. She just couldn't deal with it, huh?
Nope. She's like, my man's gone. I'm done with this Middle Earth crap. Back to my fine lodgings in
I wasn't even
Lorien.
supposed to stay here this long.
Yeah. So now Doriath has no queen, no king. The magic of the girdle of Melian is gone. So the people don't have a leader. They don't have their magical boundary that I'm sure that they depended on. It makes you wonder, could the border guards tell it was gone? Was it like zoom, like a force field that all of a sudden like disappeared? Like, could you see
Yeah.
this magical boundary? Could you feel it? Tolkien, how
Yeah.
come you didn't tell us this?
Ooh, is it
But
like in Frozen 2 where it's like that foggy, like,
yeah, I like
barrier and
that.
they can't
Mhm.
see?
And he bounces off of it repeatedly. So these
Samantha?
border but these border guards are put to the test pretty quickly. And unfortunately, they immediately fail.
I feel like they haven't been like keeping up with like training because they've relied on that other thing so much.
That's what I
So
thought
they're
too.
like
Like, were they just using it as like a crutch? Like, oh gosh, I guess we have to actually do our job now.
they're like security guard, like
Yes.
mall cops. They've turned
Mall
into
cops.
that.
Well, oh my gosh. Elves with what are those called? Oh gosh. The things that you like
Tasers.
know that you lean on and you're riding around on it. You're standing up
Oh,
but you're moving.
segways.
Yes. Oh gosh. That's a funny image in my brain. Okay, so they're put to the test quickly and they fail because the dwarf army of Nogrod is passing through into Doriath and they just walk right in. No resistance.
Okay.
Quote, for they were many and fierce, and the captains of the Grey Elves were cast into doubt and despair, and went hither and thither purposeless. Like, oh my
So did
gosh,
they
what do
just let
we do? This magic thing was here before, we didn't have to do anything, but now it's gone. This wasn't in the manual.
yeah.
Quote, but the dwarfs held on their way and passed over the great bridge and entered into Menegroth. And there befell a thing most grievous among the sorrowful deeds of the elder days. For there was battle in Menegroth, and many elves and dwarves were slain, and it has not been forgotten. But the dwarves were victorious, and the halls of Thingol were ransacked and plundered. There fell Moblung of the Heavy Hand before the doors of the treasury, wherein lay the Noglamir, and the Silmaril was taken.
Oh no. Poor Moblong. He tried
I
his best.
He tried so hard. So R.I.P. Moblung, but I'm still upset. The only moniker he gets, the only like nickname he gets is of the heavy hand. The only thing they can say about this guy over the years is that he dropped the Silmaril that one time.
Yes. I get wasabi on my shirt one time.
One time, yes. Meanwhile, you might be wondering whatever happened to that urgent message Moblung had sent to Baron and Luthien. Like, weren't they supposed to like get that and help or something? Well, at the time, Baron and Luthien were still living in the land of the dead that live, or more specifically, Tol Galen, or the Green Isle. And they had their son there with them, Dior Elokel, or successor heir of Thingol. And Dior has actually gotten married since we last talked about him.
Oh. Who's the
His
lucky
wife
lady?
His wife is named Nimloth or White Blossom.
Oh. Okay.
And of course, we don't get any backstory of how they met, which is unfortunate because all we are told is that Nimloth's uncle is actually Celeborn, Galadriel's husband.
Oh. Okay.
So, just to recap on this family here. So, we have, or had, Thingol, who's an elf, and Melian, who was a Maiar, who have a daughter who is Luthien. Luthien
Okay.
marries one of the Edain, or elf friends, but essentially a man, named Baron. Their son is Dior Elukel, who is a quarter elf, a quarter Maiar, and half Edine man. He's a
Okay.
wonderful combination of all three. He
All right.
marries an elf maiden named Nimloth. With me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So together, Dior and Nimloth have two sons. Their names are, kills me, Elured, which translates to heir of Elu Thingol. Again, somehow. Like I thought that was Dior's name, but whatever. And Eluren, which is remembrance of Elu Thingol. Like I feel like when they were naming these children, they're like, remember my dad and how awesome he was? And not that like he tried killing you or anything, but remember how awesome he was. Let's try and remember this, people.
And then Baron looks at his hand and he's like, there was a
Uh-huh.
hand here.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what about Baron's dad? What about Baron's, family history? But no, it's all about Thingol, of course. But they also have a daughter named Elwing. And she actually gets a really cool name because her name means star spray.
Whoa. Okay.
Quote, for she was born on a night of stars, whose light glittered in the spray of the waterfall beside her father's house.
Aw.
So she's going to be important later on. So file Elwing away.
All right.
So this big happy family has been living in Osirian when all of a sudden news starts trickling in about the dwarf army of Nogrod marching on Doriath. And then a messenger comes from Doriath and tells them the elf dwarf battle in Doriath has already happened. We need your help. So Baron springs in action, grabs his son Dior, and together with an army of green elves of Osirian, they head north. Quote, thus it came to pass that when the dwarves of Nogrod, returning from Menegroth with diminished host, were assailed by unseen enemies, for as they climbed up the river Gelion's banks, burdened with the spoils of Doriath, suddenly all the woods were filled with the sound of elven horns, and shafts sped upon them upon every side. There, very many of the dwarves were slain in the very first onset, but some, escaping from the ambush, held together and fled eastwards toward the mountains. Are you ready for this, Abby? Hold on. Hold on to your
Okay.
butts. You ready? You ready? And
Okay.
as they climbed the long slopes beneath Mount Dolmed, there came forth the shepherds of the trees. The Ents are
Yay!
helping. And they drove the dwarves into the shadowy woods of arid Linden, whence it is said came never one to climb the high passes that led their homes.
Oh,
So the orcs get
yay.
the Ents get a little spotlight there, but it's kind of weird. It's kind of like those trees in Two Towers that kind of are moving and they just kill all the orcs at the end. So I feel like the Ents
Uh-huh.
kind of shepherded them into this minefield of trees, and then the dwarves were never heard from again. Like we don't know what happened. They just went into that forest and never came out. So weird.
Yeah. I could see one of
So
the ants like kicking him like a like a soccer
yeah.
ball. It's like ding.
So yay, spotlight on Ents for a second. I thought you'd be happy about that.
Yay. I love them. I wish Tolkien did like the lost tales of the Ents.
I
Just
know.
like a
We
whole little
lost
book
them.
about them. I know.
So,
That would have been
in this
great.
battle,
Come on,
it,
Tolkien.
it, it would be. So, anyways, in this battle, not including the part with the Ents, uh, Baron himself killed the Lord of Nogrod and took back the Noglamir. But as the dwarf
Dang,
lord
this
was
necklace is
dying,
like got blood all over it.
speaking of what, yeah, keep that in mind. So, but as the dwarf lord is dying, he lays a curse upon all the treasure, like all the treasure that they had
Can he do
stolen
that?
from Nargothrond. Yeah, can he do that? I don't know.
Can he do that?
Some
I
feelings.
coughed all over that. I sneezed without covering my mouth all over that gold.
Mm-hmm. In other news, Baron is having some feelings because he has the Noglamir in his hands now, and he's looking at the Silmaril again, and he's feeling all of these feelings.
He's like holding it in the hand that he still has. He's like, ah,
Yeah.
not you again.
Yeah. Quote, then Baron gazed in wonder on the self-same jewel of Fëanor that he had cut from Morgoth's iron crown, now shining set amid gold and gems by the cunning of the dwarves, and he washed it clean of blood in the waters of the river.
Yeah,
So he did
I was
clean it.
right.
So
How much
with the
blood
rest
was
of the
been on this thing?
yeah. So with the rest of the treasure the dwarfs had taken from Doriath, cursed by that Lord of Nogrod, they do the sensible thing and toss it all into the nearby river.
Okay.
Yeah. And the river that was once called the Askar, or Rushing, it is now henceforth named Rathloriel, or the Golden Bed.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that
Moving
seems
on.
helpful.
Yeah. Anyways, Baron didn't throw the Noglamir in there too. Might have been tempted, but he actually brought it back to their home on Tol Galen and gave it to Luthien.
He's like, I found this thing. Yeah.
Quote, little did it ease the grief of Luthien to learn that the Lord of Nogrod was slain, and many dwarfs beside. But it is said and sung that Luthien wearing that necklace and that immortal jewel was the vision of greatest beauty and glory that has ever been outside the realm of Valinor. And for a little while,
Huh.
the land of the dead that live became like a vision of the land of the Valar, and no place has been since so fair, so fruitful, or so filled with light.
Aw,
It made it
that's
all
cute. That's
pretty.
yeah.
With the Noglamir back in good hands, someone needs to go rule Doriath. And for some reason, Baron and Luthien can't do it because they have to remain in hiding or something. But luckily, they have a son who is literally named for the job.
Okay.
Dior Elokel, the heir of Thingol, his wife Nimloth, and their three children, Elured, Elurin, and Elwing, all go to Doria.
So they're gonna go take over his grandpa's job.
Mm-hmm. Quote, then the Sindar received them with joy, and they arose from the darkness of their grief for fallen kin and king, and for the departure of Melian. And Dior Elokel set himself to raise anew the glory of the kingdom of Doria.
Aw, well, let's hope that he's better than his grandpa.
Yeah. And everyone lived happily ever after, and nothing bad or tragic ever
And
happened ever again. The end. No!
oh, dang it.
So time passes. Of course, it doesn't say how many, but one night, a messenger comes to the door of Menegroth, banging on the door, demanding to see the king. And this messenger is actually a green elf from Osiriand. So Dior meets with him and, quote, there in silence he gave to the king a coffer and took his leave. But in that coffer lay the necklace of the dwarves, wherein was set the Silmaril. And Dior, looking upon it, knew it for a sign that Baron Erkamion and Luthien Tinuviel had died indeed, and gone where go the race of men to a fate beyond the world.
Oh, he moved away from home and his parents died?
Uh-huh. So R.I.P. Baron and Luthien again.
So, like, how long was this in between? Like, was this like years later, or it
It
was just like
doesn't
right when he got
say.
there?
It doesn't say, Abby. Dior is looking at this Silmaril and he's just like, man, this stone has gone through so much. My parents went through so much getting this stone from Morgoth, and he's remembering all the tales about, how they took it from him, and he's just taking it all in. But
Uh huh.
I don't know about you, but the death of Luthien and Baron here seems very sudden and random, especially since, of course, we are rarely given details on people's ages in this story. Like when we
Yeah.
revisited them again, were they old or were they still kind of ageless? when they were given their lives back, they were to live as mortals. But at what age did they restart? Like, did they respawn at their last save point, or did they like gain a few years? Like, I don't know how that works.
Yeah. Does she age differently because she's Maiar and like
Oh, no,
an
because remember,
elf?
she's mortal
And
now.
oh, that's true. Who
But yeah,
knows?
did she catch up the hundreds of years that she was alive? Like, she speed ages?
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Like in Indiana Jones.
Yes. So Tolkien does offer a bit of an explanation here. Quote, but the wise have said that the Silmaril hastened their end, for the flame of the beauty of Luthien as she wore it was too bright for mortal lands.
Oh, she's too cool. She's too cool for this world.
Yeah, so her and the Silmaril was too cool. Maybe the Silmaril is so shiny and glowing because it's actually filled with radiation, and that slowly killed them. I mean, I don't know.
Oh no. Oh no.
So, after grieving for the death of his parents, Dior then stands up, clasps the Noglimir around his neck, quote, and now he appeared as the fairest of all the children of the world, of threefold race, of the Edain, the men elf friends, and of the Eldar, the first race of elves, and of the Maiar of the blessed realm, Valinor.
Whoever wears this necklace gets to be super hot. Super
Except,
Gorgina?
I think it's just the combination of these last few people that wore it, because they don't say that about Fëanor, and they definitely didn't say that about Morgoth.
Morgoth puts it on. He's like, I feel beautiful. The orcs are like, Sir, I've never seen you look like this. You're positively glowing. He's like,
So yeah.
no, you guys.
So Dior's got the necklace. If everything's beautiful, everything's pretty. That was the last bad thing to happen. Baron and Luthien dead. You know, that's the last bad thing. Now the story can end happily ever after, right?
Okay, that was the last bad
That
thing.
was the last
Okay.
one. No,
No,
because
are you lying? Dang it.
word starts to spread throughout Beleriand that, quote, a Silmaril of Fëanor burns again in the woods of Doriath, and the oath of the
Oh
sons of
no.
Fëanor was waked again from sleep.
Oh no.
Because remember
They
that
still
thing like a
around?
long time ago? Yeah, the Sons of Fëanor were supposed to get back this Silmaril for their dad, but they've been just kind of slacking.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Those trust fund babies out there that are
Yes. So
slacking.
they obviously never would have gotten it when Melian and Thingol had it because of Melian's magic girdle. Melian and Thingol really didn't like the Sons of Fëanor, if you remember Melian and Galadriel's gossip session from years ago. If they couldn't get it from Melian and Thingol, they sure as heck aren't going to try getting it from Beren and Luthien. You know, if they can take on Morgoth, then they must be pretty tough. So now this Dior kid has the Silmaril and Doriath, doesn't have the magic girdle anymore. He doesn't sound so scary. So, why not take it now?
Yeah. They were just
Quote,
playing the long game.
yes, yes. Quote, now hearing of the renewal of Doriath and of Dior's pride, the seven gathered again from wandering, and they sent to him to claim their own. So this wording confused me at first, but basically the sons of Fëanor are reunited, and they decide to send Dior a strongly worded letter.
Oh my gosh. We're suing
But
you.
yeah. Give it back. It's ours, please.
Yeah.
But Dior doesn't respond.
He left them on red.
Uh-huh. So, what do you think the Sons of Fëanor are going to do now? They're going to let it
They're
go.
gonna
They're like,
march
you know
in
what?
there.
You found it first. Maybe we'll work on the other ones that Morgoth has first.
They're gonna march right in there, all hot-headed and full of themselves.
Yeah, pretty much. So, remember Celegorm? Celegorm is
Uh-huh.
the amazing son of Fëanor who thought it would be a great idea to kidnap Luthien. Also, the
Okay,
brother who tried to take over Nargothrond.
Celegorm is in the Rings of Power show.
No,
Who's that? Who am I, what name am I thinking of?
Celebrimbor.
Celebrimbor, that's who it is. Gosh darn it,
So,
these names are so close.
oh, I know. That actually helps remember who things are. So, Celegorm and Curufin, they're the two brothers who are basically the most full of crap, and they're the ones that get up to the most trouble. Celegorm and Curfin were the ones who kidnapped Luthien and tried to take over Nargothrond. Celegorm is the main instigator. Curfin is the follower, but he certainly isn't like, I think we should do the right thing. He's not like that. And it's Curfin's son who is Celebrimbor.
Oh. So he's like kind of related. He's grandson to Fëanor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So this piece of crap, Celegorm, well, he gets his brothers all kinds of riled up and gets them to assault Doriath.
No. Why is everybody fighting everybody? There's a real enemy out there.
Uh-huh. Quote, they came at unawares in the middle of winter and fought with Dior in Menegroth. And so befell the second slaying of elf by elf. There fell Celegorm by Dior's hand. Yay! And there fell Curfin. Basically, Celegorm's partner in crime. I'll take it too. Yay!
Yay!
And Dark Caranthier. You know, he actually wasn't too bad. He helped Haleth all those years ago, but I guess he's guilty by association at this point, so yay.
Hey, okay, first of all, we don't support elf on elf crime. Elf
Except for
on
Celegorm.
elf on elf murder.
Celegorm could go
guys were
hang.
Yeah.
So I'm a little sad about Caranthier, but okay. But Dior was slain also. Boo!
No.
And Nimloth, his wife. No!
Oh, no.
Okay. Here's where things get really sad. Are you ready for this? Okay.
I feel like you say that phrase too much in this book.
I know. But this one is a mama thing, so I need you to just hold on to your mama heart. Okay? Can you do that?
Okay.
I know.
Okay.
Quote, and the cruel servants of Celegorm, the main jerk here, seized his, Dior's, young sons and left them to starve in the forest.
Oh.
Of this Maedhros indeed repented and sought for them long in the woods of Doriath, but his search was unavailing, and of the fate of Elured and Elurin no tale tells.
Oh, no.
So I had to do some math and look things up, but these jerk-faced friends of jerk-faced Celegorm took two little boys, and I had to figure out their ages because it took me a minute, but they were aged 17 and 14. I still call those little boys, okay?
Yeah.
They could not defend themselves, whose mother and father were just murdered in front of them. They were kidnapped and then left in the woods to die. What the heck, Tolkien? What are you doing to our mama hearts here?
Oh, no. Oh.
I do find it funny, though, that Maedhros is like, I tried to find him, but, you know, I feel like if he was really sorry, he could have had numerous resources at his hands to find two boys in the forest. But that's just
He just, like, walked out. He's like, hello? No?
Yeah, I guess they're gone.
Bye.
Yeah.
In my mom heart, they're not dead. They're fine. They live with the Ents now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I like it. Let's go with that. Quote, thus Doriath was destroyed and never rose again. But the sons of Fëanor gained not what they sought, for a remnant of the people fled before them, and with them was Elwing, Dior's daughter, and they escaped, and bearing with them the Silmaril, they came in time to the mouths of the river Sirion by the sea.
Okay, so she made it out with the Silmaril.
Yes. And also I had to do some math. Guess how old she was when this happened?
10.
She's 6.
Oh.
She's like Lizzie's age.
Oh.
And now she's
Cute,
an orphan.
But so sad. Now she's an orphan.
So, on that very sad note, I'm actually going to leave you for the day.
Oh my gosh. No.
That's actually the end of the chapter right there.
Oh. Well, she better prove to be some kick-a awesome chick in this book because she deserves a better life.
Oh, just you wait. She's got some interesting things in store for her. So, this
Okay.
actually ends the chapter of The Ruin of Doriath. That's literally what the
Oh,
chapter is called.
that's a fun title.
Yeah. Where
That's a
two ruinings happened. The first ruining with the dwarves, and then the second ruining with the Sons of Fëanor.
goodness.
All for a shiny
Ugh,
thing.
come on. Like I said a billion times in this episode, there's a real enemy out there. Why are you
Uh-huh.
guys fighting? Don't kill each other anymore. If you kill everybody, then there's going to be nobody to help fight the real enemy.
Yep.
Ugh,
But there's shiny things, Abby. There's shiny things.
dang it. Can someone please make a little like cartoon that like the sons of Fëanor or Fëanor himself or Morgoth or whatever are crows and they're like fighting over a shiny stone?
Mm-hmm. So follow us on
Thank you
Instagram
for
at
breaking my heart.
Sisters of the Shire Podcast. Become a patron at our Patreon. I did it. Patreon.com/Sisters of the Shire Podcast. Please rate us on whatever platform you listen to your podcasts on. We did get a new rating on Apple Podcasts. Thank you for whoever did that. And we also have a
Thank
new
you.
country. New country. We have 47 countries, y'all.
Whoa. I'm gonna say Asia? Somewhere in Asia?
Uh-huh.
Thailand.
I think we already have Thailand. I could be wrong, but
Uh,
it's a very
uh,
big country. I'm surprised we don't have it already, but I'm actually surprised they're allowed to listen to it here, to be honest. That sounds mean, but
Russia?
close.
Uh, North Korea?
China.
Oh, hey, there's some places in China that aren't so hardcore,
So obviously,
but
I'm in my
that's
head.
awesome.
Mulan's listening to our podcast. So thank you, Mulan, for listening to our
Thanks,
podcast,
Mulan.
and thank you for saving China.
If you guys want to hit us up on Instagram or like tag us on anything, we love that. We love any and all communication. If it's positive and happy communication on Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoy if you're enjoying sunshine today. Enjoy it. Soak it all in. Get all those vitamins. And we love you all. Thanks for joining us.
Until next week, I've been Ashley.
I've been Abby, and this has been the Sisters of the Shire podcast. And we're so glad you were here. And we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.